Okay, I'm back the next day, and I did figure out how to get my Excel cable off. It only took me a couple minutes today. I guess I was tired yesterday, but I couldn't figure it out. This guy has 4 clips that are mounted into a bracket right here. As you can see, each side has to be pushed down individually and then pushed, while you hold pressure up against it. While you're pushing it, you have to kind of wiggle them in one at a time and keep pushing and keep pressure on the bracket, and eventually it will slip through. You don't have to take the bracket off the back of the manifold. You only have to remove the acceleration cable. Next step, PCV fuel rail. The fuel pressure regulator hose, that can stay because that's been disconnected from here and here. Okay, in order to get the electrical harness off here, you have to take off this clip which connects the injector harness to the fuel rail. And that's held in with this little zip tie. Take that off. I guess I'll put the PCV valve first. It's kind of oily. Okay, one of the bolts holding the fuel rail on is down here. It's a 10mm. After you take off the fastener for the fuel rail near the fuel pressure regulator, you will have to take off 2 12mm bolts that are directly bolting down the fuel rail to the intake manifold. Oh my God. Oh, wow, that's torque tight. Got my bag, fuel rail. The EGR pipe that starts in front of the header, or actually the EGR pipe that comes off of the header, wraps around and then goes underneath here and plugs into the bottom of the intake manifold. And that's gonna be a bitch. And I can see other little fasteners and sensors that have to be unplugged underneath here. My goal is to try and do it all from the top. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that for the intake manifold underneath. And besides that, one thing that maybe you saw that I didn't, I'm going to have to take out my strut bar to get the intake manifold off. No way around that one. Okay. And once you get the fuel rail off, you might have your little grommets for the fuel rail stuck in each hole, so you'll have to pry those out and keep those with your injectors. those little guys. Okay, before you can get the intake manifold off, you have to get the EGR fitting out. And you can look straight through between the two runners, see the bolt that's attached to the EGR fitting, which is a 7/8. Big ol' honking wrench. Now, because I still have black widows all over my car, I'm not going to blindly reach my hand back in there. There's no way. There's still at least 4 or 5 brown widows left on this car that I have yet to exterminate. Hey, once you crack that, that just comes right off. It's pretty rusty though, because of the heat from the EGR pipe. And that's off. And that just, you can just rest that right on top of the starter, right there. You don't want your hands anywhere around the starter because the starter is DC voltage, I believe DC. It also has a DC ground. So if you're gonna mess anything around with the starter, disconnect your battery. DC, unlike AC, will make you grip and you won't let go and you will die and it will be crispy. So don't do that. We don't like crispy DIYers. Not fun. Bad times. You don't want to go there. So next, I have to get the vacuum hoses off each side, label them, and I'm going to cut that because that's kind of a long, boring process. Okay, this clip from the electrical harness up to the injectors, actually it's the injector harness, is attached to the side of this bracket, which is attached to the intake manifold. Behind it is one of those clips, 2-prong clips. Should hopefully just be able to press down one side with a screwdriver, and if I'm lucky I won't break it, but usually I always break this kind of stuff. Is it possible for me to not break this stuff? Can I just get one out? Oh, come on. Come on, dude. Son of a bitch. Why? Oh, come on. Why me? Why anyone? Come on. These kind of fasteners, I'm just going to nickname Kerrigan fasteners because there's just no sense to it. Maybe I should call them Harding fasteners. Crazy little bitches. Oh, there we go. Cool. Cool. Alright, now we got these other little vacuum guys, and let's say this can stay attached, the first one, because that's the bypass for the intake manifold, which goes somewhere down there and I have no idea where. This one goes to, looks like a vacuum pump assembly. I might just be able to get away with disconnecting the sensors and then leaving this bracket attached to the intake manifold and just taking all the vacuum and fuel lines up with it. I think that's going to be the smartest course of action. Okay, there's a trick to it. I figured out the trick. This little fastener here, just put your screw right in that little nub, push out as you press down. Ta-da! See, here is a trick to it. You just have to be as smart as an engineer to figure it out. 2-prong harness, lime green, nice color. After that connector, you have to then remove this connector off the back. I'm guessing it's going to be the same way. Get you a little screwdriver down in there. Push it in and out. No, of course not. Why would it work twice in a row? Okay, the trick to this one is to get a bigger screwdriver and you put it through this slot here, and that will depress the lock, and then you'll have room to maneuver and take that out. After you remove the sensors over here, there's only one way that those sensors can go on. One's a 2-prong, one's a 4-prong. Everything else can stay on. Once you get that off, you have to then remove the power steering line that goes from the power steering pump to the back there. And I plan on just removing these 2 bolts and folding it over here for the time being. You will also have to unbolt the oil dipstick. Get a piece of cardboard and make a pattern out of it, number them. I don't know what the official numbering scheme is. I have to look that up in the manual, but I will be taking these off in the right order and putting them down in the right order, and the same goes for all the internals. I got one of these little hole punchers. I have no idea where I got this. Might have been my dad's, I'm not sure. Make a hole, make a cross hole, boom, really clean. You can do that with a utility knife as well. Now that that's out of the way, all the stuff off the intake manifold, I can see a bolt, and that's onto a bracket somehow. I forgot 3 vacuum hoses. You have to disconnect these back here because all these vacuum hoses go down into this bundle back there. Not sure where those go. I would like to know. I will know eventually, I'm sure, as soon as I get this off and I can trace them. But these have to come off. I would recommend labeling it right, top left, bottom left. Take the hoses off, wrap masking tape around it, label the masking tape. Alright, I was able to reach my hand back down here without fear of spiders, because I don't think there's any back there. At least that's what I'm telling myself. There's 1 bolt on this lower bracket. The intake manifold kind of has a conch shell shape, and on the end of this runner, I guess you would say, on the end of that runner is a bolt that's holding it to a bracket, kind of like that, underneath of it. That's the only bolt that I see down there. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 on top of the manifold, and then underneath of each finger of the runner, I believe there should be another set of bolts. I only see 1 here, 1 there, and then 1 over there. I only see 3 for underneath. Okay. The bolts underneath the manifold, there's no way to get at them. There's no access from the left side. So my only thought, I can put my hand down here, but I can't put my entire hand back there. And there's other vacuum hoses and crap back there too, so not really sure of any good way to do this, except maybe try and put my entire arm through here. And a little apprehensive about doing that. So I see creepy crawly things. Oh, that cockroach that scared me in the cockroach virus video that I did is now dead, laying over there. Brown widow got him, so some brown widow ate pretty good, because that cockroach was about that big. There is only one good way of getting the intake manifold bolt that's out below this runner out. You have to take off this bracket. I was hoping to avoid that, but you have to take off this bracket just to get that bolt out, and then you can slap the bracket back on once you take it out. So yeah, let's get that guy off. So this doesn't really give me that much more access, because that wire harness is connected. So maybe if I do something like that, that might give me enough room to get back in there. You have to use a U-joint, but putting the U-joint on now makes it too long. Okay, got that out. I got 2 fingers in her. Okay, that was really bad, but hand just won't fit. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got all the bolts off the back of the manifold, including the ones underneath the runners. Now all I have to do is get the ones on the top. Now I just have to get this off so I can take the manifold out. Should be enough. Okay, I got about 2 minutes to do this before I run out of tape. This would be better if I had a helping hand. Oh, come on. These hoses and lines and crap are getting me all hung up. Why? You would have to be still connected, wouldn't you? Give me a screwdriver. Yeah, there's one last harness at the bottom of this, I believe. I hope. Oh, what else? What else? Oh, God. EGR. Crap. Seriously? Oh, brake hose. Well, you can stay. Brake vacuum hose and EGR hose. Label those, it comes out. Okay, I got the EGR off, so hopefully this should be it. There we go. Whoa. Okay, got the intake manifold out. Got pretty much everything that I wanted to do today. The intake manifold, when I let it drop, dropped on that. It didn't break it, thankfully, but you got to watch out for that one. I have no idea what kind of sensor that is. It might be a speed sensor. I have no idea. Maybe some kind of temp sensor. I'm not sure. These two big guys right here are your heater hoses. And those run to there. I might be able to get a better shot on the other side. So your heater hoses go through your firewall, then they wrap around. Oh, let's see. One heater hose goes here. I'm not sure. I'm guessing that's the outlet. That looks like the outlet because all of this goes. This is the outlet heater hose. Because all of that goes to the upper radiator hose and then to the radiator. Here's the inlet for the heater hose right here. And then this hose runs up to your IAC. That's the inlet for the IAC. And let's say an inlet for the IAC. That's the inlet for the heater hose. This is the, I guess you'd call that supply, that return. And that gets shot out to the radiator. So I got everything off that I wanted to in day 2. Which was my fuel rail, intake manifold. I still have to get off the power steering. Power steering will have to come off because it's bolted to the head right here. And that means, zoom sucks. And that means I have to remove the shield. And there's, let's see, there's one bolt under there for the shield, and then there's one bolt back here for the shield. Then once you get the shield off, there is a bigger bolt right there, and that's the other side of that bolt. And then you don't have to completely disconnect the power steering pump. You can just kind of set it off to the side kind of thing, which I have seen people do for timing belt replacements, which is a very similar process to a head tear down. What a mess. What a mess. This better work or I'm going to be pissed. For all this work, I might as well just tear the engine out and drop the V6 in. I'm already halfway there, right? It is a lot of work, and I'm not even sure if it's salvageable now. Okay, for all of you who have been wondering about where the EGR is, there it is, right there. That guy right there. There's your throttle body, or that goes to your throttle body, so it's right below your throttle body. Kind of looks like a saucer shape. But the problem with the EGR are these two bolts right here. They get stripped really easy. And once they strip, there's no way of getting the EGR out. And you have to reach your hand kind of in a really awkward position. Here is my main concern. When I pulled this off, these were caked. And that is just caked. You can't even really see in there because it's just blackness. It's just caked on. So that is one symptom of a very bad engine, and at this point I'm not even sure if it's salvageable, so we'll see. We'll go from here.